What's up? My name is Aurora. If you're new to my channel, I make videos all about beauty, fashion, and home decor on a budget. But today's video is a little bit different. We are talking college. I love talking with you guys about my college tips and tricks. I just graduated from UCR and I will be starting my grad school program in the fall at UCR as well. So I went through my undergrad, I know a few things. I also was a transfer student, so I just have a very interesting college experience, to say the least. I've talked more about my college journey and a bunch of other tips that I have for you guys in other videos, so I will link my full college series down below. It's a playlist with a bunch of stuff, so you can just go ahead and watch that, get super ready for college. But today's video, we're not talking about academics, we're talking about what really matters, which is dorm essentials. Dorm must-haves, what to bring, what to buy to your dorm room. As a freshman, I lived in a dorm and it was a small dorm. We'll get more into that in a second, but just know that there are a ton of things that they tell you to buy for your dorm room that I never touched. And there's some in particular that just really got me heated because I went ahead, listened to those lists, wasted my money. So I'm here to help you save your money, make sure that you don't make the same mistakes as me, but at the same time, I wanna make sure that you guys know what my must-have items are. So what are the things that I wish that I would have got before I moved into the dorm room? So we're gonna go over my must-haves, my must-skips, and then just other general tips for dorm shopping, setting up your dorm, organizing your dorm, all that good stuff. So we're gonna hop right into it, but before we do, make sure to go down below, hit subscribe. I post new videos every single Monday and Friday, so you can turn on your post notification so you'll never miss a video from me. And as always, if you wanna follow me on Twitter and IG, you can find me at RoryBell with 3 L's and 1 E. Let's get started. Okay, so I wanna quickly explain to you my setup for when I was living in a dorm, because I had a really small dorm room and it may be different from the dorm room that you will be moving into. Some people have a really great dorm setup where they have like their own room, a common area, a kitchen inside the dorm room, a bathroom inside the dorm room. That was not my experience, okay? Whatever dorm situation you have, you can make it work. So I'm not saying one is preferred over the other. All I'm saying is that some of the stuff that I may be listing off in this video may be more valuable or less valuable to you depending on your size of your room, how many people that you're living with, etc. Let me quickly tell you about my dorm setup. So I was in a triple. My triple was as big as the space behind me, like literally wall to wall. This is how big it was. And there were 2 strangers I did not know, I did not like. Shout out to you if you're watching. I really did not like y'all. 2 girls, didn't know them, living in the room with me. The room was so small. When I tell you it was so small. So we had 2 bunk beds and it was a twin XL. So the length of that twin XL is pretty much like where the door was. So just that's how big the room was. So we had 1 bunk bed, a top and a bottom on one side. That's where the other 2 roommates slept. And then on my side, I had a bunk bed above and then a space underneath. The triple only had 2 closets. So the other 2 girls took the 2 closets and then I took the space underneath my bunk bed. So net, the room that I had, the space that I had, the space I was paying for was a twin XL bunk bed above and the space underneath the bottom where I had like a desk and like a dresser. So I really had no room. So a lot of the stuff that I will be explaining to you guys in this video is from that experience. So if you are going through something different, if you have a ton of space, if you have like a whole kitchen area, what have you, amazing. That wasn't my case. We had like a kitchen area on the floor that nobody really used, like on the floor level that I was, like the 2nd floor. And then we also had a bathroom that like 300 girls on the floor all shared. So yeah, let's get into the haves and the have-nots and all my tips, but I just wanted to kind of give you that preface of where I was coming from. So I have notes that I took, so if I'm looking down, that's why. The first must-have, this is probably my biggest must-have, is a fan. Now, again, depending on how much space you have or what your setup is, it may be different. If you're living somewhere where it's freezing cold, you might want to switch this to a heater. But for me, I was living at UC Santa Barbara at the time. That's where I started school before I transferred to UC Riverside. And we are like a beach college, so they didn't pay for air conditioning. And while there's usually nice cool weather, it could get really hot and really humid. And so there would be times where I would just be like laying in bed and like dying of heat. So thankfully, I had a clip-on fan, and I would clip that right above my bed. It would face me, blow air into my face while I slept. It was amazing. It was probably 10 bucks, and I was so thankful I had that because I had so many friends who did not bring any sort of a fan, any sort of anything, and they would be dying of heat. So make sure you know the climate that you're moving into. Go on Reddit, ask people who have lived in the dorm, is there air conditioning, is there heating, know what you're signing up for. My air conditioning just came on when I was saying that. Know what you're signing up for and then plan accordingly, but a clip-on fan will save your life. My must-skip item is a blender or any type of like machinery for cooking, a coffee maker, a rice maker, whatever it is. You don't need it. You might not even be allowed to take it. And of course, there's exceptions to the rule if you're somebody who you make coffee like 3 times a day and you're not going to have a meal plan, then maybe if you can get away with it. But I just found that there were so many people who would bring like these big setup kitchen things and then A, have no room for it, B, never use it because they were either going to class, running around campus, going to the dining commons, working, whatever it is. You just were not in your room that much, and like, at least personally, at least the people I hung with, nobody had time for that kind of stuff to like prep or like cook. I don't know, we just didn't. And there were places on campus that you could just go and get whatever it is that you wanted to cook in your dorm. So if you're somebody who you use that every single day in your house, go for it. You know you don't want to be without an item that is a necessity for you. But if you're somebody who is like, okay, I have coffee every once in a while, I'm dorm shopping, this list says to buy a coffee maker or whatever it is, you're good, especially if you have a dining plan. Okay, so this was something, again, that may be a little bit specific depending on your room setup, but as somebody on the top bunk, this was everything. Like, this would be my top recommendation for anybody who is getting a top bunk, is a bunk shelf. I had this little, it was again like $10. It clipped onto the side of my bunk. It was like really industrial, like metal, like it was good. It was not gonna fall. And there would be so many freaking times where I would, before, like I was going out that night, I knew I was gonna be like needing some TLC by the time I got home. It was gonna be a long night. I would just go ahead and set up like some makeup wipes, some Advil, some water on the side of my bunk bed, and then when I came home, I crawled into bed and did my thing and went to bed. Like, there was just so many instances like that, or I would be studying and I would want to like set myself up and take a nap, or I was snacking, I wanted to have my stuff near me but not in my bed. Like, it was just so essential. So if you're on the top bunk, trust me, you need a bunk shelf. Okay, so my must skip item number 2 is a full-length mirror. Most dorms have mirrors in the room. Again, if you're moving more into like an apartment style, like a big room, and you want to bring it for decoration, by all means go for it. But again, I saw a lot of people like coming to the dorms, bringing stuff that they thought that they were supposed to have, not really knowing how the setup was until they got there, and then already buying things that they were never going to use. So in terms of a full-length mirror, unless you know for a fact that they don't have one, or that you're gonna have a ton of space that you just want to kind of fill up, or have multiple mirrors throughout your living area, then I would say skip the full-length mirror. You don't need it. There's probably one right there in the room for you, built into the space. Number 3 must have is a little gross, but you need it, a bug bed sheet. Some dorms come with one. Sometimes it's standard. I brought one. They might have had one, but I just added another one. You don't want bug beds, and you don't want to be putting your nice sheets right on top of the bed that somebody else used to put their sheets on. Like, you don't know who lived there before you. They're not taking mattresses out, cleaning every single one before new people move in. So you definitely want to have some sort of a barrier to protect the items that you're bringing and make sure that you get a good night's sleep without having to worry about anything like that. So definitely recommend a bed bug. Like, they're like these plastic sheets, and you put them over and they zip all the way up, and they're great. So I definitely recommend something like that. At the end of the year, if you want to toss it out, you totally could. Bed bugs aside, you just want to have like a little space between you and the last person who used to live in that dorm room. In the same vein, must skip item number 3 for me was a mattress topper. I saw so many people raving about mattress toppers that it made me think like, oh my gosh, am I gonna like, is this gonna be the worst thing I've ever slept on in my life? I would say that if you're somebody who you are very specific about like the firmness or the softness of what you're sleeping on. That's totally cool. I'm not shaming, mattress shaming anybody, but if like you're sensitive to that, then for sure, like get a mattress topper. But if you're somebody who you could sleep on the floor and not really have a problem, like you don't need a mattress topper. They're like $100 if you get a good one. And because it's gonna be a twin XL, you're probably never gonna use it again in your life. And most people only dorm for like a year or two. I only dorm for like a semester before I transfer it out. So you definitely don't wanna be stuck with something expensive that you're only using for a year, especially if you don't even care half of the time or notice. Like mattresses, I feel like the older you get, the more sensitive or the more picky, I guess we could say, that you are about that sort of stuff. But at least for me, at least for the people I know, a lot of us could not care less about like what we were sleeping on at that point in our life. I don't know if that makes sense, but if you know yourself and you know you need one, get one by all means, but like don't think that you need to get one or that it's gonna be like a brick slab. It's fine. Number 4 item that you definitely need is room freshener or air spray or wick, like plugins or wallflowers from Bath & Body Works, whatever it is. If you don't know your roommates, if you've never lived with these people before, even if they are your friends, you truly don't know like how other people live. And I know everybody says that, but it's so true. My roommates, like I said, I wish them the worst. No, I'm just kidding. I really don't like them at all. They were horrible. One of them like was such a slob. She had like this bread bowl of like this stinky soup, and she ate it and like left it underneath her bed for like 2 days. And I was like mortified every single day coming into my room. Just like gross. And so you don't want to be dealing with somebody else's funk or be smelling somebody else when you're trying to sleep, when you're trying to study, when you're just trying to chill. So definitely have some room spray, I would say, in addition to like a wall plug-in, because you want to be able to like direct where the spray goes to the sink, you know what I mean? In the same vein, must skip is a candle. Most places don't allow you to have candles in the dorm room. Some allow you to have like a candle warmer, but most places don't, just because like the wax or the fire or whatever. So skip that. Get you some room spray. I would say room spray, air freshener, and a wall plug-in, because you never know. My next must-have item is an over-the-door hanger. These can be really, really cheap. I have a bunch in my house that are like from Dollar Tree. Let me just go ahead and get one for you guys. Okay, so this one is actually from Dollar Tree. I use this all the time in my house. I have like 4 of them, like on every single door. So this is amazing because a lot of times if you are living in a dorm, if you have a communal bathroom, like you're gonna be walking in with a robe, taking it off, you wanna have somewhere to hang up your stuff or hang up your towel. I know for me, like in my bathroom at home here, I hang up my towel like either on the shower or on one of these hangers. But if you're in a communal bathroom, you can't like leave your towel in a bathroom with everybody else, you know what I mean? So it's really important that you have somewhere to hang up your stuff. The problem is though, is that you don't really know like if these types of things will fit over a door until you get there. So what I recommend is either getting a cheap one like this or getting one that you can like bend and adjust. This one's metal, so I'm sure I could, but I can't with my hand. Some have hangers already built in, so don't go waste a ton of money. But like if you even just get one like this that's $1, and then you could go ahead and hang this up like in a closet. I even hung up one on like the side of my bunk bed. Whatever, I just think it's good to have one of these available to you. My next must-have is to have an extra blanket. Now, I'm not talking about your bedding. I'm not talking about anything that you want to like keep really clean or anything super nice. I'm just talking about a general extra blanket that you can bring with you to certain rooms. If you're like staying over at somebody's house, you guys can bring into like the communal room if you're watching a movie or whatever it is. I just always wish that I had extra blankets. I remember when I was in the dorm room, because I just had like stuff on my bed and I didn't really want to drag out my bedding into like a communal space, but I did want to keep warm and kind of bundle up. So maybe just like a cheapy one, something under $10 that you don't really care about, that you can just bring and kind of have as like your designated out of your room blanket. Next, must skip might be a little bit controversial, but I'm just gonna go ahead and say it anyway. I don't think you need to bring dishes or utensils or like reusable plates, reusable anything like that. I really think that majority of students are going to eat most of their meals in the dining common. If you're signed up for a dining plan period, I really really don't think that you're going to be making that much food. And if you are, or if you're eating in your dorm room, it's probably going to be snacks, leftovers, takeout, whatever it is. I just found that I brought a bunch of utensils and didn't touch them at all. If anything, maybe like one or two max plastic cups. Obviously this changes if you have a communal kitchen in your room, or if you have some sort of like a space where you're going to be cooking, or if you don't have a dining common plan or whatever it is. But in general, I didn't need my plates, I didn't need my bowls, I didn't need my forks, and I know those are small and you can get them if you really want them. Just don't buy a bunch. Like if you feel like you need one, buy one of each, but don't buy like a whole set. You don't need it. Speaking of food and eating, I would really recommend getting some snacks already squared away, already bought in bulk or whatever it is before you go. And honestly, a variety is better. You're going to get sick of whatever the snacks that you're eating because you're probably going to reach for them a lot. And I know for me, like every time my mom would come and visit me, she would bring me snacks, which was amazing. But I started off there, I didn't really have very much to eat in my room. And if you were moving into an apartment, you would go grocery shopping when you moved in. You don't really think of it as the same way when you're in a dorm because you're not really buying like a bunch of produce or things that you would normally eat. I went ahead and I used like one of the drawers in my desk that they provided in the dorm room to just hold all my snacks. And I had a bunch of bomb snacks. I had like fruit roll-ups. Oh my gosh, it was so good. Like I just remember like there were certain days where I was having such a hard time and like the snacks that I had was like the highlight of my day. So that might be very specific to like the fact that I hated where I was going to school for my first semester when I was living in a dorm, but really recommend like thinking about getting snacks. Now I don't mean like 7 big bags of chips and 7 big bags that like you don't want to be taking up a ton of space. I just mean like having some stuff in enough to fit in a bin or a pull-out drawer or whatever it is of snacks and different items, different fun little things to have. Definitely recommend. Okay, so those are all my must-haves and my must-skips. I'm going to quickly list off to you guys some tips that I think are important when you're thinking about organizing, shopping for a dorm room. So the first one is to think about how you can use the furniture that they already have there. You should be able, once you pick your dorm room or your dorm plan or whatever it is, to kind of investigate and look into whether it's Reddit, Google Images, YouTube, whatever, how those dorms are looking, what furniture comes with each of them. I remember I really relied heavily on like dorm tours for the specific dorm that I moved into at UC Santa Barbara. So really recommend doing that. Get an idea for what furniture comes in the space. For me, there was like a flat little dresser and then my desk. I know for me, I don't study at my desk. I either study in my bed or I study at a library or a coffee shop or something like that. I've never studied at a desk in my house in my life. So I knew that I could make use of that desk in another way. I used it for getting ready. Like that was way more practical, way better use of space for me. I was not about to go do my makeup in the bathroom. Every single girl I knew pretty much used their desk for that exact thing. So that saved me a ton of space there. I didn't need to fill up my desk drawers with a bunch of office supplies. I needed to fill it up with my makeup and my snacks. Another thing that I really recommend doing is making 2 lists when you're shopping. Things that you know that you need, and then things that you kind of think that you might want or might need. Use that maybe list if you can after you already move into your dorm. Take another shopping trip, whether it's by yourselves, with your friends, with your family. I really do think that there's tons of stuff that I didn't end up needing that I wish I would have sat on a little bit longer than come full force and move in with them. So that's just my recommendation. If there's some things on your maybe list that you want to hold off on, I definitely think that's a good idea. So this is my biggest tip for dorm shopping is instead of feeling like you're going shopping and packing and going on a vacation or a camp trip, think about it as if you had to move out of the room or the home that you're living in right now and you had to get rid of 90% of the stuff, what would you keep? That's truly what it is. Now, of course, you're not going to have access to the same things that you do at your parents' house, whether that's, like I said, laundry detergent or certain things in the kitchen or whatever it is. Like, there definitely are things that you're going to need to repurchase for yourself, your own set of, your own version of, because you can't take it from home. However, you don't need to like overpack or overbuy or any of this stuff. because really truly a lot of people, including myself, looked at it as, oh, I'm going away to camp, or I'm going away on vacation, in that same mindset of like, I'm super excited, I want to reinvent myself, I want to be this best version of myself, so I'm gonna buy all these things that are fun in theory, but then when I'm actually there, I don't really need, I don't really use, and I just wasted my money. So I know that's not the fun idea or thing to tell you guys, but I really think that if you're trying to save money, if you're trying to be a smart shopper, then that is my advice for you. My last tip that I will say in this video in terms of buying and moving in is remember that you will have to move out. Like, remember at some point you're going to have to take all that stuff that you brought and move out. So A, you don't want to overdo it and have a bunch of stuff that you won't be able to like move out with on your own. And B, you don't want to invest on things that are really expensive if you're only going to max have a use for them for 1 to 2 years. I definitely recommend investing in things that you think that you will use for longer than living in a dorm. And on the A note about moving out last minute, I had to move out during a fire. In the morning, I woke up not thinking anything, and by the end of the day, I had to move all my stuff out last minute. So I was stressed out. I was like giving stuff away, throwing stuff away. It was just a whole mess. And if I would have just kind of condensed my stuff down when I was moving in, I wouldn't have had that big hectic thing at the end. Okay guys, that's all of my tips. If you want to check out my other college videos, they will be linked below. I love you guys so much. If you want to subscribe, make sure to hit that button down below. I post new videos every single Monday and Friday. And as always, if you want to follow me on Twitter and IG, you can find me at Rory Ball 304. Love you guys, bye.